What's up and what's good, everybody? I'm News 3's Jack Patterson, and welcome to Week 9 of the PrepZone Football Preview. Brief explanation of why I'm here and Dayne and David are not. Normally, we tape the show on Tuesday and Wednesday for a late Thursday, early Friday release. On this week's show, we broke down the playoff scenarios from Region 2-7A in Alabama. One of the things those scenarios were based off of is Central defeating Enterprise Thursday night. Whereas you were about to see, the Wildcats said, not so fast. To the highlights we go. Central Enterprise down in South Alabama. Red Devils trying to go undefeated in region play. First half, we go Tavis Anderson for Enterprise. Gets the carry for the Wildcats. He breaks through the hole. He has space. He's down the sideline. And one guy's got to try to catch him. No, he dives into the end zone. Touchdown Wildcats 7-0. Central response. Quan Weaver on the keeper. Arm tackling. Not going to work against this guy. He's down the sideline 50 yards for the touchdown. Red Devils tie at 7. Enterprise will kick a field goal late in the fourth quarter to take a 17-14 lead and will stuff Weaver on the final play of the game on a 4th and goal from the 1 to seal the upset. Enterprise wins and gets into the playoffs 17-14. First region loss for Central in over 2 years. So now, here are your up-to-date Region 2-7A standings as of Thursday night. Central, even with the loss, still clinched the region, and they are in the playoffs. They will be the #1 seed and have home field through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Auburn has clinched the playoff spot. They will play Smiths Station tomorrow. We'll get to their scenarios in just a second. Enterprise, with the win, is now in at 3-3 in the region. Prattville, Smiths Station, and Lee all play tomorrow. Prattville plays Lee. Smiths Station hosts Auburn. The winners of those games will determine what happens with the rest of the playoffs. Let's go to Auburn's playoff scenarios. They'll travel to Smiths Station. If Auburn wins, they will clinch the #2 spot in 2-7A. They will host a playoff game in the first round. With the loss, Auburn will be a 3 seed and will be on the road for the first round of the playoffs. Let's take it over to Smiths Station. And if the Panthers must win. They have any chance to make the playoffs, the Panthers must win. They also need a Prattville loss to Lee. Tall order. It's going to be tough for them. If Smiths Station loses to Auburn, they will automatically be eliminated from playoff contention. So huge game tomorrow night at Patterson Stadium in Smiths Station. And we will have the scores, highlights, and more on the Prep Zone. Also Thursday night, LaGrange knocked off a Shaw in a 35-28 thriller. We'll get you caught up with everything you need to know tomorrow on News 3 Evening Edition at 6/5 Central, including our Friday Night Tailgate Game of the Week, the battle for the Broocelli Jug between Brookstone and Pacelli. The preview for that game coming up in a few minutes. For right now, let's throw it to the original open for the start of the PrepZone Football Preview with myself, David Mitchell, and Dayne Young.
Who will survive Region 2-7A?
It's an easy pick. All they got to do is win.
My girlfriend went to high school there. I need brownie points.
Go Tigers. It's your destiny. Go Tigers. Who will be the last team left standing coming off this week of high school football? We welcome you to Week 9 of the PrepZone Football Preview. I'm Jack Patterson. That's David Mitchell from the Ledger Inquirer. That's Sports Director Dayne Young.
I will survive. I know that.
So maybe we'll survive.
Let's actually break this game down a little bit.
Yeah. Now we can actually talk about the game. Now that we've laid out
This will be the game that I'm at, and obviously it's a big deal. Kind of a big deal. I look at it and I think Auburn is probably playing as well as they have all year.
They're playing good
similar
football
to what they did last year. Auburn's advantages.
They look like a 2 seed right now, don't they?
Yeah.
The way they're playing.
And let's not forget, Auburn played with Central only at the end, not until then, but at the end they were there. I know onside kicks and everything.
Sort of played with Central.
It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you do it.
That's true.
Auburn also, at least for half, I know played better than Opelika. And I think Opelika is right in there with
Sure.
these great teams.
You look at these games that Auburn has lost. They've lost some close games against some really good
That
football teams.
JD game I thought was kind of fluky. Auburn did not play well that day. Their first half was pretty atrocious.
Yeah. And forget the JD is 2-4. I watched them last week. They got killed. They got killed by Central, but they have talent on that football team.
I look at Auburn and I say you have an experienced quarterback in Bradley Northcutt. But even when he got hurt last week, they were fine when they brought in their backup. Their biggest thing is they have a big physical offensive line. And Jamie DuBose said at the beginning of the year, we're not going to face an offensive line bigger than Auburn. That is so beneficial late in the season when everybody's banged up and they're tired, because if your offensive line can create that push against tired defenses this late, I mean, that's about as big of an advantage as you can have this late in the year. And maybe that's why they're playing better now than they were.
Yeah, here's the thing when you consider that as well. Smith. Now, I don't know what Enterprise. I haven't seen Enterprise play. I know they're playing really good football right now. They beat
the last 2 weeks.
They beat Prattville 2 weeks ago and then Smith Station last week. Smith Station scored 3 points last week against Enterprise.
That won't get it done.
That won't get it done against Auburn. I mean, that won't get it done against anybody, but you have to be, with that offensive line controlling the game like Auburn can, Smith Station has to do a better job of getting some points and not leaving it all up to the defense. I mean, the defense obviously did great last week, held Enterprise to 6 points, but you can't leave it all up to your defense in a game like this with that kind of offensive line.
And here's the thing, if Auburn already controls the field position, which a good offensive line does that, an experienced quarterback does that, hopefully Northcutt will play, they also have potentially the best kicker in our area, one of the best kickers I've seen in a while, Sage Ledbetter.
Yes.
That is so helpful come playoffs, and they trust him completely.
Is he like a redshirt senior? I feel like he's been there for like 6 or 7 years.
He was a redshirt senior if he went to high school, but he will be a preferred walk-on at Auburn University. And have a chance to join the Big Tigers. Having that in playoff time is, I think it's vital for a team, because once you get in close games, you have to have somebody reliable. He's missed some kicks, but he can make a 46, 48 yarder.
Yeah, and he's come through for them in the playoffs in the past.
Yeah.
And we're considering this a playoff game. I think this he may still make
playoffs start this week.
The playoffs started last week.
So Central's going to treat it like a playoff game?
Again, because I mean, you won't see Central.
DuBose said it. He's not letting up.
Yeah.
He told me one of the first, I went out to practice a couple of weeks ago, and something he really stressed to me was how big of a deal it would be for Central to be able to go undefeated in the region in back-to-back years. Hasn't happened for them in a long time. So that's on their mind. They're thinking about it.
It is, and what's strange to me, I guess it's not strange, this is DuBose, but that Prattville loss last year in the playoffs, that is still pushing them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All year long.
Absolutely.
And so they look at it and they say, we don't want to lose a region game either in the regular season or in the playoffs. So we can't start now.
Let me paint it this way too. I was on the sideline last year when they played Enterprise in the last game. Same scenario. They're the 1 seed, have nothing to worry about. They can lose, and nothing changes. And Jamie DuBose on the sideline, just as animated, just as motivated.
His wife too.
His wife too. Absolutely. They want to win this game. So
we love both of them. They're great.
Absolutely.
I love their passion.
Undefeated is a nice prize.
It is a nice prize.
Especially in that region.
And I think Auburn, if they get a chance to host a playoff game, then that's a very dangerous team.
Oh man, the Doc would be rocking that night.
Yeah,
could be a
Sanford
dangerous
Stadium. Yeah, I think they've played well on the road as well. Some of their biggest wins this year have been on the road, and some of their biggest losses, like JD, were at home.
Yeah.
And Jeff Davis, we just say JD.
Yeah.
I think people know.
I think they know.
If you watch, you know.
They know.
But if Smith Station can find a way up to that 2 seed, Dalton Singfield is really good. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in our area.
Yeah, they've got a good team. It's just a matter of
they're not
going out there and
they have not been consistent this year, but their top end is really good.
Yeah,
their bottom end is pretty rough.
Yeah.
So which Smith Station is going to show up?
beating Jeff Davis like they did a couple of weeks ago, 29-26, and a comeback win was, I mean, that says a lot about the type of team that
And
they
that was
have.
Dalton. Dalton came back and won that game at the end.
Jack, I'm going to let you off the hook here. We could go down scenarios in Region 1, 5A,
Man,
and
save
Georgia
that crap
2.
for 2 weeks.
But we're not going to this week.
Save it.
Carver.
No.
That's not even clinched
No.
yet.
No, we're
throwing
gonna
that word out there. Carver.
we're gonna keep it easy this week.
Listen, at least it's the last week of region play in Alabama, which is why we're doing all this. 1-5A has 3 weeks left.
We'll just leave it there.
And
What games do we have?
And the
over
thing
there?
is, it'll still be bananas 3 weeks from now.
It will.
Before
We'll
we
worry
get
about
there,
that.
one
then.
more thing in Alabama that I do want to mention. Opelika's still undefeated.
Yes.
Beauregard's still undefeated. Central, they're not undefeated, but Stockbridge and Opelika are their losses. They're undefeated in region, like we said. 3 teams within 20 miles of each other playing tremendous football right now.
Yeah.
And could potentially win state championships. You combine that with the fact that Auburn's losses have, one, been against really good teams and been really close losses to Opelika, to Central. They've had a couple that were a little fluky, but that shows that Auburn can play with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it and I'm saying that's 4 elite football teams, all within about 20 miles of each other. All who
true.
can make a lot of noise in the playoffs. Smiths Station, you can throw them in there. I mean, the talent that we have there, and I know we talk about it a lot, but I think it's still understated.
Yeah.
I said it a couple weeks ago. I don't think there's ever been a time in our history that East Alabama football has been as good as what it is right now.
Not since I've been here.
And some people still don't know about Beauregard, and I don't know how. They're beating everybody by 30 points. Their biggest region test, they won about 21.
Yeah.
I mean, they're elite.
Mm-hmm.
They are elite.
I have not seen anybody that can stop that offense.
They'll run up against a Greenville or something and have more of a challenge in playoffs, but no one that they've played yet has touched them. And I think that they would score on teams like Opelika. I don't think they would beat Opelika just because of depth, but I think they could score on them for sure.
Yeah.
They're a good team, man. Team we got to watch out for.
Now in Georgia.
So in Georgia, we're not going to
Keep it simple.
Let's just keep it simple. We're not going to go through all the playoff scenarios because
Too much time left.
not only is it
Not
too
in the
much
show,
time.
but just in the weeks.
Yeah, we have 3 weeks left to go. But with that being said, all 3 of these matchups in 1-5A this week, huge playoff implications involved. We'll go with LaGrange Shaw at Connect on Thursday night. That's a huge game for LaGrange because that could possibly be an elimination game.
Yeah. We've got elimination games in 2 of these games, I think. I think LaGrange, if Shaw wins, could put LaGrange on the cusp of being in we'll say dire straits.
I say that for Shaw, too, because Shaw has 2 losses in the region, too, with that loss to Carver on Saturday.
That Shaw win against Columbus
huge.
really saved their season.
Yeah.
They have a chance right now.
Yes.
Carver and Harris County. Harris County's on the brink. They're in trouble.
That's an elimination game for Harris County.
I think they're in trouble in 2 ways because I think Carver's just more talented than Harris County.
Carver at their best, and we've said it many times. And you weren't here when I was really excited to talk about them last week because we're hard on them.
We are
a lot. But that game against LaGrange, even though it was only a 1-point win, that was a moment.
Showed heart.
That was a moment for Carver and for Jawan Pass. That was the best game I've ever seen him play. It's fantastic.
On the road as well.
Yeah, on the road against another quarterback who was matching him
on a
all
Saturday
the way.
When it's a little they handled it well.
And it's another elimination game for Columbus. They're playing a still undefeated in the region north side.
Yeah, let's not say elimination game for that because Columbus has 2 wins in the region,
but also has 2 losses.
Also has 2 losses, but they've got a little bit of wiggle room. North side, it could be
They played the lighter end of the schedule early on, and that's why that's the case. But they pulled out wins. I mean, that Harris County game was really close, and
in the Shaw game,
a North side win here though would make them 4-0 in the region.
Yeah.
I think,
and that more or less I think would be a playoff spot. I don't know about the 2. It would give them a playoff spot.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it would be hard. I don't see a scenario where they wouldn't have a spot.
Right.
Now, that's not to say last year when they went up against Northside Warner Robins with that playoff spot.
You don't want to be the 4 seed
right
this year. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
In that game specifically, though, I think both of these teams are playing really good football, and Columbus has answered the call when every time you think that here comes Columbus, this is Columbus, they come back out and they play another good football.
I'll tell you this, Connect Stadium is going to be rocking on Friday night because not only do we have 2 of the more resilient teams in our area, more teams that are on the rise in our area, But we have two very passionate fan bases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those Columbus fans are great.
And they like to talk about each other. I
Yes.
notice on Twitter.
This is like a little like a rivalry that's just kind of under that doesn't get a lot of attention. But Columbus Northside, that's a pretty big rivalry, not just in football but in other sports as well. But this is a huge game for not just these teams, for both of these schools. And like David said, there's some trash talking going on.
Yeah.
I'll say this, I do think that Columbus needs to play with a sense of urgency. With this being the season that they've had, the best in our recent memory, they can't squander this.
Yeah,
They need to make the playoffs.
They've got the players right now.
Yes.
Better roster than they've had in a long time.
Like they say.
They've had some talent in the past, but they've got more depth. They've got more.
I'm just selfish. I want to see
experience.
a Bassi in the playoffs.
I'd love to. They're the type of team that it's easy to root for because they've gone through so much trouble over the years.
Anybody who's lived in town, or seen, the Columbus teams play, it's been a rough last decade for them.
Yeah.
And to see them have the kind of success they're having, and with the kind of players they're having, you don't ever hear about any problems with Columbus or anything like that.
And to see them grow with Phil Marino.
Exactly.
Because other teams would get impatient with some of the records that they have put up the last few years. They have allowed it. I mean, he's a great guy, first of all. He cares about those kids.
And I don't know that there are many more coaches who are as passionate about his guys as he is.
And not only that, Coach Marino built a program at Columbus. And a lot of coaches don't get a lot of time to do that. Columbus allowed him to do that, and I think it's paying off right now.
And this kind of season can be a foundation for something special.
Yeah.
Later on. It might not be. I've seen it not be as well, but it definitely could be.
Yes.
Either way, I think Columbus, to solidify what they have become and to avoid that backslide, they have to make the playoffs, I think it's really important.
And I really think that starts Friday, because I don't they'll still have wiggle room, but I mean they really
it gets tough.
If you lose this game, that road that got tougher after the Shaw loss gets so much tougher.
Also, I'll say this for Columbus. I said it last week though. They've played Carver, they've played LaGrange, and they're playing Northside right now. Those are probably and they've played Shaw as well. So
they've played probably three of the tougher teams in this region, so it doesn't. I mean, you have Harris County and Hardaway left in the season, so
they have the advantage of having all, and I don't know that it's an advantage because everybody has to play everybody.
Yeah. But
they're 2-2, and they've already played some of the toughest teams in the region.
I'd like y'all's predictions right now. Who you think will be the 4 playoff teams?
I thought we were gonna do that later, weren't we?
Is that Survivor style?
Is that?
Kind of, sort of, kind of.
Did I spoil it? Next. I don't know.
I mean, we can still. I mean, I thought we were gonna do just like one team.
Okay.
I mean, this is all interesting to the fans because it's already happened. It happened at the beginning of the show.
We're going to do predictions right now. Carver's in for me.
Yep.
Northside is in for me. And we're doing this without looking at tiebreakers or seeding or anything, so it might just be completely wrong. But I say Carver, Northside, I say Columbus, and I say, man, this is tough because I think it all hinges on Shaw and LaGrange. The winner of that game, I think, gets in and is the 4th seed.
And I'm going to say it's LaGrange.
I will go Carver, Northside, Columbus, and give me the Raiders.
Yeah.
Because I was impressed not only by the Carver game, but I was impressed by the Columbus game as well.
I was impressed with those, but I learned as much about LaGrange and their loss to Carver as I did.
Look, that I don't know. I don't know how Columbus slowed LaPerry and Perry down because what they did against Carver was.
I will say this much.
You got to see that Diallo Burke swag, though.
I will say this: scoreboard clock operator for the LaGrange Shaw game. Get ready, because that's going to be a fun one.
The winner of that game is going to turn out to be the one that wins the turnover battle, because both teams can get a little sloppy sometimes because they play so aggressive, especially Shaw. I mean, that's the Jekyll and Hyde team. And look, BJ Knight, love you, but I mean, you have to be efficient with that football. You turn it over, you throw interceptions, you're going to lose LaGrange.
And both of them, both the quarterbacks going to have really good games for their team to win. But that's a couple weeks down the line. I think it's actually next week. Let's go to Friday Night Tailgate Game of the Week. And
Broocelli Jug.
Yep, battle for the Broocelli Jug. Playoff implications galore in this one too. Brookstone and Pacelli separated by less than a point in the single A private power rankings. Brookstone's 12th, Pacelli's 13th.
Let's go ahead and make it easy on everybody who is hoping Pacelli or Brookstone might win the region. Brookstone still has a chance. They've only got one loss, but it would take Marion County falling
twice
into a just a chasm the size of the Grand Canyon for them not to.
In other words, it's not happening.
They got Smothers.
Marion County's gonna win the region.
You know why?
Because I got.
And Swaney.
Because I got
Swaney and Smothers.
So Marion County will win the region. I'm saying that right
I
now.
was told Swaney watches this too. So what's up,
Yes.
Mike Swaney? Love you guys.
So
Love all y'all in Marion
watched.
County.
Hey, I'll see you guys in Marion County this week.
And Chaco.
Brookstone and Pacelli, though, they need to be more worried about trying to get up into that upper
Top
tier
8, the top 8
of Class A, and they're in Class A private. And a win for whichever team wins this is going to get a big boost. I think the winner of this is definitely going to be in the playoffs.
I agree.
I think the loser still has a really good chance of being in the playoffs, but it's
a hard
seeding.
road once you get
It's
there.
a hard road,
It's-
and you're going to be playing one of the. You're
playing Mount
Aquinas
Perrin.
or Mount Perrin or somebody like that. It's not going to be easy if you don't get into that higher seed.
I don't see a favorite in this game. I think Brookstone.
I don't either.
and Pacelli come
I think
in
they're very
right in the same
even.
Spot.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, I would say Pacelli wins this game. Brookstone's impressed me. And to be honest, I think Pacelli kind of came down to earth a little bit.
I think Pacelli came down to earth. I think they also they played a great game, a mostly good game against Marion County. I mean, they it ended up not looking as good, and that's the same thing for Brookstone. They got beat 40-0, but
First half, it was what?
it was
14-0?
closer in the first half. But Marion County just played a perfect game against Brookstone. Brookstone's defense is better than it was last year.
Yeah,
they fly to the ball really well. They're gonna give Pacelli some trouble there. Pacelli will have Dre Bowman back for this game. He will be playing. He's good to go.
And that's crucial. I don't know if they would win
Absolutely.
that game
No,
without him.
like Alan Griffin said to me today, you never want an injury, but it could not have come at a
So he could get back.
more beneficial time
Yeah.
because they had the bye week. They could get him back for such a crucial game this week. So he's good to go.
And we're throwing around all these playoff scenarios. Let's just keep in mind, this is a huge rivalry game.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to think
The atmosphere.
Brookstone is probably still seething over the fact that the lasting image from last year's battle for the Broocelli Jug was
Showing now.
was Randy Grace and his team hoisting the Broocelli Jug on the turf at Rex Knight Field.
Yeah.
So
It was a party. It was a good party. I was there.
So you gotta think that is on the minds of the Cougars as they get ready to go into this game down at Diamond Field.
I don't want to know what's in the jug. I think a sweet tea.
Well,
I think a sweet tea.
our compatriot on the prep zone, Chris Gates, he's a Pacelli grad.
Yeah.
He says it's just a milk jug that they paint.
I think they put sweet tea in there.
Sweet tea.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I don't know.
I'll see if I can get a sip of it. I'm not going to be at that game.
So-
I'll get Kevin Ripple to bring
So
me
what are you
some.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rob will help
He's
us.
going to stay the whole time for whoever hoists the
The
jug.
Broocelli Jug.
Where are you going to be at Friday, Jack?
I will. And there is your obligatory Bob Jeswell appearance on the WRBL Prep Zone.
The jug.
I will be at Marion County for Greenville, Marion County. I will also make a stop in Buena Vista for Temple at Chatco. Huge 5 two-way matchup.
Cool.
Which is fun because you have to go right by Chatco on the way back.
Yep.
I'm going to be at Northside Columbus. You're going to be
I'll
at.
be at Smiths Station, Fort Smith Station. Auburn.
We
kinda
have
talked
all
about
the
that.
big
Rewind back
ones
about
covered.
20 minutes if you want to hear that.
Yes.
Nobody listens to you, Dayne.
Whoa. 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 That was uncalled for, man.
He was being rude, man.
I'm going to go not be here.
Sign us off.
No, come
before
on,
we
man.
fight.
Don't do that.
Sign us off.
Dog.
Sign us
Dang.
off, Jack.
You see the things you do?
He was being rude.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. He said, "Rewind it back. We just talked about that." Man,
He wasn't. He turned his mic.
Jack.
What
You just do it on your own.
You're leaving too?
Yup.
What the? And now Jeff was running the camera? Dayne, are you behind the set?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Turn my mic off.
Anyway, follow that crazy joker at LE Prep Sports. Follow that crazy joker at Dayne Young. I'm at J Patterson TV. Also follow Natalie Pacelli. Oh gosh, she's gonna kill me for messing up her name for the first. She's gonna kill me for messing up her name the first time. At Nat Pacelli, and follow the WRBL Sports account at WRBL Sports. Scores, highlights, and more on the Twitter page. Also on the Prep Zone at 11:15 Dayne. We'll have you covered, and we will finally figure out who on earth is gonna make the playoffs at the Region 2 7A. And I'm done. You guys are crazy.
Done with this guy.
Oh my God. Well, I'm wearing a wrestling shirt. Fight just broke out. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on the Week 10 edition of the PrepZone Football Preview.